Stephan Stern is being charged with murder in the unaliving of 13-year-old Madaline Soto. Madaline Soto disappeared on February 6 of 2024, where her body was found a few days later. Now, Stephan Stern was a prime suspect in this case because he was the last person to see her alive. He was arrested on unrelated charges after law enforcement went through his phone and have found disturbing images. So if you enjoy forensic analysis of true crime cases, I hope you enjoyed today's story where we dive into the mind frame of Stephan Stern. So our story takes place over in, I can never pronounce the city right even though I used to live in Florida. It's either Kissimmee or Kissimmee, which is about 18 miles south of Orlando, Florida. Now, Madaline Soto had just celebrated her 13th birthday on February 22nd of 2024. But she didn't truly celebrate until that Sunday of February 25th. Now on that day, her mother would say that she had a very good day. She was happy. She was talking to all her friends through either her phone or through her laptop. There wasn't a moment where she wasn't talking to somebody. So once the party was over, Madeline's mother, who is Jennifer Soto, had stated that she was tired and wanted to go to bed. And so before she went to bed, she had asked her boyfriend, who is Stephan Stern, if he can take Madaline to school in the morning, in which he agreed to actually drop her off. Now, that Monday of February 26th of 2024, Stephan would go ahead and drop off Madaline at school. But this is where the story gets weird, because he didn't drop her off at school, he dropped her off a few blocks away from the school. Now in an interview with Stephan, he would go ahead and say that he had dropped her off a few blocks away from the school over at the Peace United Methodist Church, which is about a half a mile from Madeline's school, in which she attended Hunter Creek Middle School. Now as to why he would drop her off a half a mile away from the school, in which he couldn't give an answer for, because he stated that maybe she was embarrassed by his car. He stated he had dropped her off at the church and that was the last time he saw of her. Later that day, Jennifer would pull up to the school to try to pick up Madaline, and that's when she realized that Madaline never showed up for school. Jennifer would email Madaline teachers, and when she had found out that Madaline never made it the first period. And upon looking at their attendance record, Madaline didn't show up at all. Now, feeling that something may have happened to her daughter, Jennifer would go ahead and notify the sheriff's office, in which the sheriff's department would go ahead and launch a massive search party for her. Now, both the deputies and Jennifer would pass out flyers with Madeline's picture on it in the hopes that somebody would recognize her. Now, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement would add Madaline to the current list of missing child alerts. They will also list her as endangered. Now, what that means is when a juvenile is missing under circumstances that indicate that a juvenile physical safety is in danger, in most cases it could be predatory abductions or kidnapping. But at that point, they weren't sure if Madaline was kidnapped or if she just ran away. But the one thing that they did know was that she had left her phone at home, which they thought that was odd because most teenagers won't leave the house without their phones. Now, after a search for her phone, they have found text messages to her friends saying that she wanted to live in the woods after her 13th birthday, in which the police would put their focus in the woods behind the school. Now, a couple days later, on February 28th of 2024, deputies would have Stephan Stern come in for an interview. Now, the reason why they had Stephan come in was because since he was the last person to see her alive that day, they had some further questions they wanted to ask him. Now, during the interview, they would ask Stephan they can take a look at his phone, in which he agreed to it, but he also told them that he had accidentally factory reset his phone, in which I'm not sure how you accidentally factory reset a phone. Seeing how anytime you factory reset a phone, it actually multiple times of "Are you sure?" So what the deputies did was they had sent his phone over to the digital forensic unit, in which they were able to recover everything that was deleted off that phone. And the things that they found on that phone shocked police. So before I continue on, I might as well go ahead and say viewer discretion is advised, because the images and videos that were on his phone were of children having inappropriate relationships with adults. And in some of the images and videos that was on his phone, it was of Stephan having relationships with Madaline. Now, upon finding out about the images and videos on his phone, deputies would go ahead and start questioning him about it, in which Stephan had invoked his right to remain silent and had requested an attorney. So with Stephan asked for an attorney and invoking his right to remain silent, the police would go ahead and read him his Miranda rights and arrest him. Now let's talk about the typology and the behavior that Stephan Stern has shown so far. Now, Stephan is what is known as an isolated collector. Now, I talked about this in a previous video called the Daycare of Horrors. Now, what an isolated collector is a person that accumulated images that reinforce their thoughts of one having intimate relationship with children in real time, in which some of the images are of themselves having intimate relationships with children that they keep as souvenirs to fantasize over. Now, he is also referred to as a type 1 offender. Now, what a type 1 offender is a person that collects images but also has adult contact with children. Now, upon his arrest, the police department would notify Jennifer about their findings, in which they would ask her if she knew anything about this was going on, in which she replied back saying that she was oblivious to anything that was going on in her own household. Even though as the interview went on, some of the things that she was saying didn't sit right with police. Because Jennifer would tell police that both her, Madaline, and Stephan would all sleep in the same bed. She would even say that there are times where all of them are sleeping in the exact same bed, and Stephan would be in his boxers. She would even state at times she would wake up in the morning and find that both Stephan and Madaline are snuggling with each other. Now, police would ask her, don't she find that kind of weird? And she replied back with no. She treated this like this was an everyday thing. She would even tell police that the night before Madaline had disappeared, she had asked if both her and Stephan would go sleep in the next room because she wanted to have the bed to herself because she worked all day and didn't want to be bothered. Now, I'm being completely honest, I would find this very weird and disturbing that you will have your 13-year-old and a full-grown man sleep in the same bed together. Now, police, they didn't believe that she knew nothing about what was going on. At the same time, they didn't have any evidence that say that she knew or that she had any way been involved in anything that was going on. So she was allowed to leave without any charges filed against her. Now, one thing that police did end up finding out was that Stephan has been abusing Madaline ever since she was 11 because the timestamps on the photos and videos go as far as back as August of 2022. Now, a couple days later, on March 1st of 2024, the body of Madaline Soto was found, in which she was found in the same clothes that she was wearing the day she disappeared. And during an autopsy of the body, they have found that she was strangled to death. So it wasn't until a few weeks later when Stephan was charged with Madaline's death. And on top of that, he also faces 60 criminal charges, which includes 8 counts of inappropriate battery of a child under the age of 12, 5 counts of inappropriate battery with a child between the ages of 12 and 18, 7 counts of lewd and lascivious behaviors, and 40 counts of unlawful possession of adult entertainment containing kids. Now, some of you may be wondering, how can he do something like this? And here's what is referred to as a actual, add the S, indiscriminate P3DO. Now, what that entails is a person that has an ominous appetite for both children and adults, in which they base their behaviors off of availability. Now, the reason why police suspect that Stephan Stern has something to do with Madaline's death was because when they looked at surveillance footage, they have found that Stephan had threw away some items in a dumpster, and upon searching the dumpster, they have found that it contained both Madaline's backpack and her school-issue laptop. And he was also caught on camera with Madaline's body in his vehicle, in which police believed that she was unalive that morning. Now, in July of 2024, new evidence will arise after jailhouse emails between Stephan and his mother came to light, saying that there may have been a woman involved in this crime. In the email, Stephan's mother would say that she knows that there was somebody else involved in this case and that she just wished that he would say something to his attorney because he should not take the fall for all this. But she also knows that Stephan would not rat on anybody. She would also state that this is disgusting, that she is free and you're taking the fall for all of this. She would also state that this woman is not thinking about you and that if she really wanted to help you, she would have helped you out. Now, police are unsure about who the mom is talking about, but they're further looking into it to see if they can find a connection. But as to a motive as to why Stephan may have unalived Madaline, police believe that it is alleged that Madaline may have been pregnant the day that she died, and that Stephan had unalived her doesn't keep that secret from coming out, because it would come to find out that if she was pregnant, it was his kid. So as of right now, Stephan Stern has pled not guilty to the 60 counts of child abuse material that he has, but it's unclear if there is a plea for the murder charge. And if convicted, the prosecutors are looking into giving him the death penalty. So that concludes our story for today. Do you feel that Madaline's mother knew about the abuse that was going on? And do you feel that she's been more involved in what she lets on? Go ahead and leave a comment down below. And if you like more forensic stories like this, go ahead and like, follow, and subscribe for more videos to come. So until next time, be safe.